Artificial Intelligence, Law and Justice, Session 7. This is the second class of the topic Use of AI in Law in India. We will do a quick recap of what we have discussed. In the last session, we learnt about the important application of AI in law and how they are really used. We also pointed out that AI can make a huge difference in practice of law and why the legal sector is getting more and more attracted towards AI on account of its potential. Further, we also gave some examples of how law firms are using AI, besides giving some examples about applications. Finally, we also touched upon and then highlighted that legal tech innovation in India is happening, but it may not be happening at the pace we would like that to happen, and whether can AI really transform the legal profession and law as a career. Some of these questions which we discussed in the previous class will be addressed in this class also, so that when you complete this class or this part 2 of this subtopic, you will get a better understanding of use of AI in law in India. You will also be able to understand as to why the AI law in India is a growing, very interesting but complex field. We need to look at what we can call as non-traditional applications. The traditional applications, by that what we mean is that traditional applications are the one where people go to a court or people go to a tribunal and then argue, and then they do the traditional typical legal mechanisms available to them by invoking different forum and then by going at different tribunals and other fora. But AI can also be used for online mediation and arbitration. Now we know that online mediation and arbitration are also options available and they are legally acceptable also. In fact, government is trying to promote both mediation and arbitration, although we have not been able to make a huge success out of that. On the other hand, for many people, mediation and arbitration are more preferable for the simple reason they are not so cumbersome and then they could be done easily, and more importantly, they do not go through the typical procedure in the courts, which means that they need not wait for the courts to take up the matter, they need not wait for the courts to adjourn or to decide upon. Rather, the solution can be quicker and then often it is less expensive, less time consuming. But mediation and arbitration are yet to pick up on a large scale in India. The traditional benefits of going to a court are there, but then traditional benefits in mediation and arbitration are much more than that. But when AI really steps in, AI tools are really used for online mediation and arbitration, they make it a game changer in the sense that online mediation and online arbitration using AI tools or arbitration using AI tools can make a huge difference for the simple reason that AI tools make both arbitration and mediation a much more easier thing to handle, much more efficient one. And this adoption of AI on a large scale is likely to give a big boost to mediation and arbitration in India. And then there are a lot of innovations happening in India. For example, WebNyai. WebNyai is a startup, legal startup that specializes in online mediation. Of course, they have other products and services. Another potential area where consumer is huge potential for AI products is consumer law and consumer dispute resolution. Now the typical traditional consumer dispute resolution that goes through consumer courts, consumer redressal grievance forum are all there, but they are also time consuming. And more importantly, for the consumer, quicker resolution is very important, and often the matter or the subject that has to be debated or to be decided upon is not all that complex. That is why to arrive at simpler and better solutions, using AI for such applications is much more preferable. And the government is also trying its best to do that. For example, key developments include introduction of AI-enabled National Consumer Helpline, the e-map portal, and the Jago Grahak Jogo mobile application. Now all these are expected to resolve quickly the consumer complaints and empower citizens to make the informed choices. But these tools are available now and some of them are AI enabled ones. What extent they have been really able to meet the need and what has been the demand for them, we are not sure, because some of them are very new, and then obviously it will take time even for the consumers to be aware that they are available. And so is the case with anyone in the business or for anyone who deals with consumers on a day-to-day basis. So it's also likely that the AI-driven consumer protection initiatives need to be given much more publicity and then much more awareness have to be created. As we said in the last session, there's a proliferation of startups developing AI-based innovation. But strikingly, there is no big legal tech firm focusing on killer apps or on large innovation. Otherwise, what we are seeing is that there are many innovative firms specializing in one application, specializing in two applications, or looking at only one aspect of the boutique of AI services which a company can offer, or offering only in some specialized field, like doing something like legal research or online mediation, or developing tools that will help the legal sector, but rather than developing a tools that could be used broadly by both the public as well as by the legal sector. In legal research, as we said, the new tools are mostly from the traditional providers of databases and literature, but of course there are also a lot of new developments have come up. And another thing is that these innovations are scattered across firms and across applications, with no firm offering a comprehensive boutique of services or products. Or in other words, there is no mall or there is no supermarket or there is no super bazaar for AI based innovations in the legal tech in India. In the sense that there is no one single stop and shop avenue even on the online, so that you can quickly see what applications you need to access, what applications you would prefer to test, and what applications you would try to buy. Since there is so much of fragmentation happening, even with about 800 firms trying to compete in a small market and trying to do too many things, there is too much of fragmentation there. But this fragmentation can also result in a lot of innovations, can also result in development of a larger AI based firms which could again come together and then get consolidated. So the situation today is not something that of hopelessness. It could become far better within 5 years, and in a decade or so we may find larger legal tech firms specializing in legal research, offering various services and also becoming something like an unicorn. The sector itself is highly fragmented and divided because big law firms operate on their own. They do a lot of innovation in-house. Of course, they also rely on third-party consultants and others. They do buy, borrow, mix and match. So, big for law firms know what they need. They know from where they can need, and what they cannot internally develop, they can always buy. They can get a consultant to get it exclusively developed for them. And it is also true that many firms, including individual researchers, are using tools developed elsewhere, such as ROS, which is again a AI-powered legal research service. But we are also seeing a lot of India-based alternatives available in legal research for it. Interestingly, we do not find much of interest developing in e-courts modernization or in any other government project for firms that to specialize in public service oriented legal tools using AI. In fact, flagging this concern, former CJA Chandrachud also said whether AI can assist or cannot replace human rights is a thing which he said, but he said that there could be marginalization. The legal tools which we need may not be available for the people who are already marginalized, and he cautioned against it. So, if we look at it, the stark reality is that there is a divide in terms of innovation, focus, accessibility and use. Or in other words, much of the innovation that happens today is not oriented towards meeting the needs of the public that need access to these sophisticated tools, and also to meet the need of the people who otherwise need them, because for them even the traditional court mechanisms or the traditional legal avenues are either too expensive or inaccessible. So we are not only seeing fragmentation, but also we are also seeing a deep divide on account of the innovations in the AI sector. While there is no precise data, a study done by 2022, which I am going to cite, said there are over 650 startups. And then India ranks second in the number of legal tech startups. But then we do not know about the survival rate. We do not know about the how many of them have been able to really come up with a product, or how many of them have been really able to survive on their own without venture capital backing or any other funding mechanism. Legal tech encompasses 4 categories major: legal service delivery, process efficiency, access to legal resources, do-it-yourself tools that service 3 customer segments: citizen, legal service providers, judiciary. So this is the broad picture we are getting. A major issue here is, although these four categories are there, lot of the innovation that is happening is not evenly spread. In fact, lot of the innovation happens in 1, 2, 3. Rather, the do-it-yourself tools are very limited, and more importantly, the legal service delivery and process efficiency are the ones that are getting more attention, because that is where the companies can derive the maximum benefit in the initial years of deploying AI. So the potential of AI in promise is very much there, but another major hassle or another major constraint which we also discussed in the previous class is that there is a whole lot of vernacular nature of documentation. It is very much there, in the sense that most of the contracts and then a good number of judgments delivered by different courts which are the district level or in the vernacular languages or in the Indian languages. So for a traditional legal firm to build an LLM or to build a huge database or to give an AI tool, say on property in India, or even to access the registered properties in a particular area, or even to map as to what are the ways they can analyze all these things and then come up with a quicker understanding as to develop tools for specific sectors, like legal sector oriented tools for real estate, legal tech oriented tools for the banking sector, or legal tech use for the consumer service sector, will be very difficult, because there is a lot of fragmentation and then much of the documentation or much of the information is not fully available in English. But there is an opening of the large domestic market to legal tech interventions is happening, and then there are a lot of increasing intervention, acquisition of startups and validation of new technology. So new options like online distribution, distribute resolutions are making the sector very buoyant. And then the legal tech startup growth could potentially come from online dispute resolution, succession management, litigation finance, court management, due diligence, management and legal transcription translations. This is what a study done by IMA in 2022 pointed out. So it said, beyond the bench promises of the legal tech startups, it also identified the constraints, it also identified the potentials, and it also said what directions the legal tech sector could take. But the core issue here is that numbers are big, but then they are early stage of innovation. And then whether we get a legal tech unicorn is a different issue. Are they really getting funding that is commensurate with their needs, or how much of the venture capital funding goes to this sector is not clear. But according to different estimates and different websites, including the one which I have cited, legal tech firms are not able to attract good investment, or not able to attract investment to the scale that is needed. And more importantly, very few legal tech firms get sizable investment from venture capital funds. Or in other words, the venture capital funds that fund them are also quite limited. And more importantly, they go for round 1, round 2, but even then that is very limited in terms of millions of dollars. So the legal tech environment, the startup ecosystem is flourishing, but then access to funding seems to be a major hassle there. But the legal tech firm globally is also a firm where a lot of other people involved. For example, major service providers in the software sector are also very much there. And most of the major companies, including Infosys, TSS, HCL, IBM, they have their own legal tech wing or firm or units that focus on legal tech applications, which again they develop and then they sell or they make it available to third party. So the availability of an expertise in India in legal tech, particularly in using AI across different companies itself, is a good sign that this sector is bound to grow well. While the legal tech is yet to attract massive investments from venture capital funds or similar investments, one hopes that the central government will step in and then try to come up with some incentive or a specific fund to promote legal tech innovations, particularly the ones that come up with innovations that are socially oriented. A crucial question which we talked about earlier is that, will there be an AI lawyer, and of course will there be an AI judge? Now, given the pace of adoption of AI in the legal sector, not only India but globally, some roles are likely to be redundant and realigned. When we say that redundant, for example, the entry-level jobs in legal sector, like someone preparing the drafts of a contract, or someone going through the draft of a contract based on a template, or someone preparing the basic level documentation or basic level documentation analysis and then coming up with a summary. Those mundane tasks where entry level jobs or even middle level jobs where people spend hours in document management or typing out scale documents or merging documents to come up with a legal document, those skills may become outdated or they may become very redundant. So those who are doing those, playing those roles, their jobs could get realigned or they could become totally redundant or there could be job displacement. Contrary to this level, some skills may become more valuable with new topics such as legal analytics. Legal analytics is very similar to data analytics, again specializing in law, and then obviously legal analytics means that will have its own insights, that will have its own tools, and more importantly, legal analytics is an area which is bound to grow in future, particularly with the advent of AI-based tools, algorithms, and LLMs that are very specific to legal sector being developed. So the lawyer of the future will definitely need a lot of skills to deal with AI tools, manage them, use them very constructively and efficiently, and also derive value from them. So what could happen is that the traditional typical lawyer today, he or she is an expert with lot of skills, with lot of experience in many cases, but the role again is focused on what a lawyer or a team of lawyers can do using their brains and hands, and not collaborating with AI based tools or not collaborating with digital tools. In the future, these rules may undergo a change in the sense that the roles could become hybrid roles where with enhanced skills and responsibilities, a lawyer would be required to deal with tools, different tools, or will have to collaborate with AI tools or manage a team with AI tools than just a lawyer or two. Now, when we say that, we are also talking about certain things which are coming up in a large way, which we will see later. So, when you need to talk of collaborating with an AI tools, we talk of that in an active sense, not in a very passive sense, in the sense that we also talk that AI tools can be interactive, AI tools can be autonomous, AI tools can also take decisions, and AI tools can also collaborate. How this will happen, why this will happen, we will discuss a little later in this session. But if there is going to be AI lawyer, will there be AI judge? Yes, there will be an AI judge in the future, possible. But before an AI lawyer and AI judge comes in India, the system itself should become more flexible or should become more oriented towards these professions, and more importantly, it should reach a level of maturity that these things can happen. So, the transformation of the legal profession is happening slowly and steadily, but in many ways. AI tools, as we said, can really automate routine tasks from docket management, from case management, and also in different ways like what the teams earlier would do, one AI tool can comfortably manage today. And when these tools can automate routine tasks, a good amount of the time that was spent on them could be saved, increasing the efficiency, and more importantly, these automation of these routine tasks can take the firm's efficiency to the next level. And more importantly, the legal tech innovations may need interdisciplinary collaboration. This should be obvious because legal tech, any tech innovation, including in using AI, often needs interdisciplinary collaboration because a developer, a model builder, or someone who really does data analytics would need an expertise from a lawyer, or for someone who has got an experience in being a judge, or who has got a very domain experience, whether it is employment law or whether it is contract law or the environment law or labor law, to develop the tools that are appropriate for that specific sector as well as for that specific application. So in future, the legal tech innovation would be run or would be driven by interdisciplinary collaborations, including experts from different domains coming together. More importantly, the legal research today by the lawyers, either as a teams or by individual, is very limited because it is based on their individual capacity or their collective thinking as a group. On the other hand, the legal research with AI can augment thinking and analytical capacities because it can give an idea which we never thought, or it can match patterns, or it can identify certain, not exactly patterns, but recurrences which a person would not have even realized when that person going through the documents. In the sense that AI can pick up certain things which humans will not be able to. To give an example, AlphaFold by from Google, in fact, synthesized and then also uh, came up with thousands of proteins which humans never thought about. And more importantly, in some of the applications in science, AI tools are doing certain things which humans have never even imagined, in the sense that they are not only faster and efficient but also very innovative and creative. So, if AlphaFold can give conjectures and then can also synthesize proteins whose structure we were not even aware, or we were not even aware that such proteins were even feasible by synthesis by us, a similar thing can happen, if not on the same scale or on the in the same depth, in legal field also. So the legal research in AI can really augment thinking and analytical capabilities, in the sense that use of AI tools can result in two ways or three ways impact. One, it can augment, supplement and complement the traditional thinking role, and then resulting in a win-win synergy for both. The other synergy could be that the legal person or the lawyer could get overwhelmed by the quick, fast development of the analysis of the AI tools in legal sector, and then when he or she works with them, they may get overawed, or they may think that whatever AI does or whatever AI predicts or whatever AI gives us output is much better, we need not even question it, or AI as a tool should be more laid upon than questioned upon. This could be the second option. The third option could be something like, as people use AI tools more and more in a profession like law, it could also become that their thinking capacity may itself get within course diminished, for the simple reason they may take AI as given that they should rely upon, and more importantly, as they get used to use more and more AI tools, they may lose the tendency to independently do analysis, to independently go through the documents, develop their own insights and come up with their own findings. So these are the three potential options that could happen: win-win, and then AI tools, people getting so much accustomed that they do not even try to question what it does, and then go in flow with the AI tools. Or the third option could be that the very analytical capacity and thinking capacity itself could be adversely affected, if not totally, adversely affected. So these are the three possible tools, the possible ways the AI tools can impact the legal thinking and the legal analytical capacity of the lawyers. But this again is a hypothesis, because it need not happen. People can come up with their own ways to deal with them, and then the win-win scenario which we said might prevail. And AI-based tools can streamline and make things in large firms. So what happens is that they arrange the workflow and then the roles and organization structures. When workflows are being arranged or reorganized, it will have impact on the organizational structure. For example, if a large firm had three teams working solely on contract management or docket management or document management, those three teams would not be required, and then that team could be reduced in terms of size or in terms of persons, and the AI tool can simply supplement what they have been doing over a period and then take over the task over a period also. So the workflow arrangement, management can also change the structure, because some roles may get redundant, might not be required to that extent as it was earlier, and then the organizational structure also may become changed on account of that. So the traditional law firm, or for that matter the legal services industry itself, may undergo a change on account of that, which also means, as we said, that some skills will be more valuable or may become more in demand. And how this will impact the organizational structure again is something which we have to see. But all these things also are about certain unwritten assumptions which we normally believe, that lawyers are ethical persons, lawyers are responsible, lawyers are accountable, and lawyers are also good human beings who go by the good code of conduct, internal self-discipline, and then they go by the professional conduct rules. But these things, however well established, however well they have been practiced, need a revision and then a rethink on account of the advent of AI tools. Why? Because the large scale adoption of AI tools will also raise questions about professional responsibility and accountability. In the sense that there are potential risks in using AI tools, lots of benefits, potential unanticipated consequences, not only potential risk but also huge cost of accountability and risk management. So the ethical guidelines or the ethical principles or the ethical frameworks which the lawyer typically operates today will become totally obsolete when the lawyer uses or when the lawyer aligns with AI tools to do practice. So questions need to be raised, answers have to be found. There is no other option. So that would mean the ethical guidelines, professional guidelines, and then the professional good practice of today will have to be revisited, revised, and then made in tune with the times. More importantly, as society expects more and more from AI, and particularly in the legal sector, those in the legal profession will have to be very sensitive to that. In addition to revising their ethical guidelines, their ethical practices, and other things, they need to know how they can meet the expected society and assure that their professional practices will not be in no way be diminished by deployment of AI in terms of customer service or meeting expectations of the people. And then there are issues like data governance, privacy, risks and liability from AI. Some of the things like data governance are not small things which the lawyers can solve or find amicable solutions. They are part of the larger problem of AI. So are the costs with privacy, and then the risk and liability from AI tools again is the larger issue. So when we deal with all these things and all these issues, it is also important for us to analyze that some of the things which we talk about today, we are not even aware as to what exactly are the questions or what exactly are the things we need to really debate about. So we need to really bear in mind that ethics, responsibility and accountability are going to be major factors or major critical items for the lawyers of today as well as those of the future to think about when they embrace AI tools with lot of enthusiasm. So what exactly had happened? AI agents and law. We are coming to an interesting, perhaps something which was not even anticipated a few years ago or in the field of not only legal but also everywhere. Now today AI agents are the much talked about topic. AI agents are like human agents in the sense that you want someone to go and book a ticket for you, or you ask a travel agent to organize a tour for you, giving instructions that you want to fly out from here, you want to fly out from there, and in between you want to reach this place, and then travel agent will have to identify the shortest possible time or the least expensive travel trip which you want to undertake. Now this task you can do, but then you delegate to that the travel expert or the travel agent, because he or she is an expert, they can handle it in a much more professional way. Imagine that you are going to have an AI agent that can handle it. Now an AI agent can be your stockbroker, can be your travel agent, can also play the role of an advocate or a lawyer. So whether we like it or not, AI innovations are going to be the next level of innovation in legal service, and they are emerging everywhere. So we say what exactly this is about. AI agents in legal services are intelligent, autonomous systems that perform legal tasks with minimum human intervention. In the sense that AI agents need to be told what is expected from them and what they should do. And it's not necessary that every step you need to tell them. You don't tell your travel agent that when you plan my travel, you ensure that flight availability is there, or when you plan my travel, you ensure that the train reaches in a time so that I am able to catch the next train in time. And these are the fundamental things which are taken. So you don't tell the travel agent these fundamental things again and again, nor you tell them that you need to do this repeatedly because they know the job. Now, if an AI agent can do that without human intervention, it is as good as a human being in dealing with those topics. So, in legal agents, they are much more sophisticated because they can understand the legal language, they can analyze documents, they can track regulatory changes, they can conduct legal research and provide strategic recommendation, all based on predefined goals and continuous learning. Now, this is talks about something which is potential, which is likely to come within the next few years. But this potential is too real in one sense. For some people, it could be too worrisome. At the same time, this potential also raises a lot of questions. For example, all along we have been talking about only one thing: human using AI tools, but not getting replaced by AI tools. And we also talk in certain things that certain skills may become redundant. But we never said that lawyers as a profession or legal service as a profession will become redundant. But with the AI agents, it is possible, at least theoretically as of now, that an AI agent is capable of doing what an ordinary normal lawyer would do, provided the AI agent is clearly told that what is expected and what is expected outcome from it. So this is an example of an AI agentic AI architecture in a legal service. This again is a big hypothetical one put up by this company called Zenan Stack, which is dealing in this. So it says about whole lot of agents, like you have document review agent, which again is an AI agent. Research, then you also have agents which deal with other things like client interaction agent. This could be a chatbot which does it. Then you also have in the left side certain things like data aggregation, then flow of work, and then in the right side you have analyze cases and then identify issues, and then you also link up certain things by enhanced client service. So agentic architecture in legal services can play different roles, including multiple roles like client update, picking up the needs of the client, chatting with the client, updating the most recent legal developments, and also doing certain things which normally teams of persons will do. For example, if there's going to be a master orchestrator agent that can act as a team leader, that can coordinate, that can do multiple functions and interact with other AI agents. Normally, AI agents today are not thought in terms of a single agent, but they are also thought in terms of multiple agents or agents working in tandem. For example, in a factory, an AI agent can look at the workflow, or the agent can look at the production side of that. Another AI agent can look at the warehousing side of that. Another AI agent can look at the order situation, inventory control, and then try to match order situation with the workflow in the factory, so that as and when orders are received, they are quickly recorded, and then the orders that are to be met are met by delivering them in time. So a team of or a group of, or as some people say, a swarm of AI agents, when they are working together, when they work together in tandem, they can do many things because they can interact. Just like chatbots that can talk to each other, AI agents can also talk to each other, interact, and then they also do a lot of analysis by themselves, because AI agents come up with the capacity to learn, capacity to understand and improve their skills and understanding. Having said that, we should also be aware of one thing. There do not seem to be any development of AI agents in India now, at least, but they are being developed elsewhere, and they are being developed elsewhere in other sectors is happening. So it's a question of time. If not the level, it's a question of time. If not today, as there are some legal chatbots, AI agents will also be available in another few years, if not fully applicable in all applications or to meet all the needs. There could be something like AI agents that can interact as the consumer interface, AI agents that can do very mundane jobs, and AI agents that can coordinate. AI agents also raise huge questions about ethics, responsibility and accountability, particularly when they operate as autonomous entities. As AI agents can operate as autonomous entities with capacity to learn, capacity to take decisions, and capacity to interact among themselves, lots of questions come. To give you an example, an AI agent or a chatbot was used by a consumer in Canada who booked an air ticket. He queried about whether he is entitled for a concession or not. The AI agent or the chatbot said yes. So based on that understanding, the consumer booked the ticket. But then the company later found out that the AI agent or the chatbot's understanding was wrong and that consumer was not entitled for that concession. Now, where do we fix this problem? Is there a problem of the understanding of the AI agent, or is there a problem that AI agent has not been trained well to understand fully, or is it that the AI agent simply missed certain things? But the decision was taken, ticket was issued, and then the consumer also paid the money. So this error was discovered later. Assuming a similar situation in a legal profession, an AI agent in the legal service by mistake files a wrong affidavit in a wrong forum. So the implication that could be huge. Or an AI agent gives a wrong advice to a client by stating that you are not entitled for this relief or you will not be able to file and claim this because this forum does not recognize you as a potential as someone who should be represented in that. Now these are hypothetical examples, but as we go more into more of AI agents, autonomous AI agents, agents that can act on their own and take decisions with their own with association with others, we will see lots and lots of such questions coming up. I have discussed that in an earlier article. The link of that has been given here. So AI agents and legal service is going to be the next big thing, but how big it will be and then how drastically it will affect the legal services is not clear. But in the next few years, you would find AI agents coming into that. Another important thing which I want to talk about AI agents is that when AI agents are getting introduced, the earlier services which we talked about, the AI tools which could be used, could get replaced by AI agents themselves, in the sense that AI agents will become the next generation AI tools that can supersede the AI tools which we talked about in case management, in legal research and other things. So there is going to be a leapfrogging situation when it comes to applying AI in legal services, whether it happens in India and globally it is happening. So this gap of we getting into digitization and then to AI and then suddenly switching over to AI agents is going to be something that will create lot of not only confusion, could also create lot of uneasy for people even to deal with them, because the time between AI adoption and then the time between AI agents getting adopted is going to be likely to be question of few years. So how the legal sector will deal with these autonomous agents when they themselves as of now are not sure about the ethical responsibilities, liabilities, and then how to manage the risk that could emanate from AI tools is a big question, but there is no other way. We need to deal with the technology and its consequences. Summing up, in 2 sessions, we explored how AI is altering the legal landscape in India in terms of innovations and applications, and what are the many issues that are likely to emerge in this as of now as in the near future. Moreover, we also flagged some challenges and concerns like potential displacement, demand for new skills and fragmented nature of the innovations, and absence of any major initiative for AI innovations as a public good. Although we did not dwell in depth into it, to me this is a major concern because most of the AI innovations today are private sector oriented towards meeting the needs of large firms or meeting the needs of these specific people in the legal sector or the specific groups of legal sector, rather than the larger consumers of legal services, including the common citizens who would benefit more from these AI tools. And then we also ended up with a discussion on the AI agents of the legal sector and why this can make a huge difference. Of course, whether this will make a huge difference itself, we are not sure, because we are in the cusp of AI revolution in the legal sector in India. Whether there will be a leapfrog or there could be a generation gap or there could be a sweeping changes, we are not sure. So the next session is going to be something where we will discuss about